Naomi Season 2, Issue 3, Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker writing with Jamal Campbell on the art. So the cliffhanger of the last issue was Naomi was looking into where Dee went, and it took her to Star Labs, and we had Cyborg popping out through a portal and saying, "Quick, close the portal."
Yeah.
That was the ending of that issue. The actual cliffhanger with Cyborg is kind of not a big thing. It's just kind of like very quickly they're fighting like a monster thing, and then they close the portal, and that's it.
Naomi punches it back to where it belongs, which I thought was
pretty
funny.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Did Cyborg feel like the right Cyborg to you? I felt like the dialogue was off.
Well, that's the thing. He even says, "I'm not sure what Earth I'm on.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my Earth." So this could be he's a cyborg from another Earth. Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, then that was great happenstance. She happened to be at Star Labs to help him out.
Yeah, it's funny.
You know.
Yeah, honestly, the far more interesting stuff, as always with this book, is the character stuff, which is her parents like being worried and talking about stuff, and Hawk Girl coming to visit them and saying she asked me for advice last issue, and I ended up just talking to her about the history of Thanagar and some of the shittier things that happened. But this just makes them worry more, is that she's getting advice from Hawk Girl and Justice Leaguers and what's going on. So
it should be Hawk Lady, Pete. I thought that was a funny.
I mean, Hawk Girl questions, should it be Hawk Lady? And she goes, no.
Yeah, no, I know, but I just love the mom. It should be Hawk Lady, really.
Yeah.
So you can tell by the wings. Again, a lot of the fun dialogue like that is stuff I've been missing from other Bendis's books.
Oh, sure. But Hawk Girl goes to help. She ends up showing up at the end of the Cyborg stuff. And, sort of saying, I want to see your parents. And when she goes back home, when Naomi goes back home, and her dad tries to sort of talk to her and talks about, why it feels so weird. It's like when she goes out to do stuff like this, they don't know where she's going. She doesn't tell them. She feels alienated. They feel they worry. It's kind of just like a magnified version or a multiplied version of like any worry a parent feels when their kid starts doing things on their own, when they start going places without them.
And it has the added element of her being a superhero, and that makes you a target. And we don't know, like, it's not just her taking the car out, right? It's her fighting, like Black Adam or whatever. Like it adds this extra element. And I thought, man, that is something that we don't usually get that, because so many of our heroes, like, right? So many of the young heroes are almost orphans, and we don't ever really get this side of things.
Oh yeah, usually the parents are dead. Yeah.
Right. Or the person that's responsible for them is also a superhero, right? So to have, I know her dad's from Rand, and he was, probably a soldier or whatever, but he's not a superhero. So
that's the thing, because she's arguing with her parents here to a point and talking about how like she has to do stuff like this, and when she says, "Oh yeah, technically my arm got broke, but it healed quite quickly because of my powers." Like the mom's like, "Oh, we should take her to the hospital. She's take her to the hospital. Let's go. Should you fly us? No, I'll drive us. I should drive you. I'm the mother."
Yeah.
But eventually, like her dad suggests, maybe you could just not be a superhero. Just because you have powers doesn't mean you have to actually actively do this. And I think that's kind of an interesting question to pose. But I do really like this moment where she turns around and says, what are you talking about? No, it's about helping people. There's no way I'm going to go through all this and not try and help people. And there's just a moment where they sort of take it in, and then they just go, like, we're kind of proud of that, right?
Yeah.
Because why shouldn't they be? Of course they're proud of that.
And that's very much like, she grew up idolizing Superman, right? And that is a very Superman, Clark Kent, tell a mom, Pa Kent. Because this also reminded me of that part in Birthright, which is one of my favorite Superman moments, where, so Clark's getting ready to, debut as Superman, and Pa Kent is like, well, no, don't forget, you're still our son. And once you go out there, you belong to them too. And I'm always going to worry about you. And I felt shades of that in this, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it as well is this idea that like parents are going to feel protective and not want their kid to do. I mean, I think they even joke about, I want to Rapunzel you. I want to make you Rapunzel. And it's this idea that they're actually so proud of her character, of who she is and what she believes in, that ultimately they can't really argue with her choices. They can limit it to a point for a little bit while she's still technically a child, but once she's 18 and she's making her own choices, she's going to go off and do this anyway. She might as well get good at it now.
Well, and she has great mentors right now too, right? Like, she's in the Justice League. So if anyone's going to steer her right, that's it. But yeah, no, all that stuff with the parents is really good.
And then we get sort of another slice of life stuff where she goes back to school for the first time since all this has happened, and everyone knows who she is. Like, they all know she's got powers. So we get this kind of like just the people staring at her in the hallway. Her friends been happy to see her, cracking jokes about, don't you just graduate immediately because you got superpowers? Is that not a thing? And they're hanging out under the bleachers later on, and this bully comes and like apologizes for some of the stuff that he said to her. And Naomi like genuinely seems to not know how to take it. It's like, are you doing this because I've made you realize that what you did was wrong and you feel bad, or are you doing this just because you're scared of me because I have powers now? Like, it's like you can sort of see it, and this is a compliment to Jamal Campbell's art. Is I think you can see in her face like she doesn't know how to take it. She doesn't know how much to take this as a sincere thing, or not so much that it's not sincere. Like, I get that he wants to make it clear that he's apologizing and he's being sincere in that sense, but the motivation for the apologies what's unclear.
Yeah, you're apologizing, but for what? Are you apologizing because I have powers? Or are you apologizing because you suddenly matured and realized that, you were mean to me?
And it's this, it may be part of the reason why she looks so apprehensive, is this maybe fear that she may not be able to trust people sometimes now, because they might want to, like, like with a celebrity, like everyone trying to like suck up to them and be nice to them, that kind of idea, like that might be a part of her life now. And she has her close friends that were already her friends, so she knows they're okay, but like meeting new people and making new friends that aren't other superheroes is going to be maybe a little trickier now, a little there's this extra layer there. So there's some interesting
I like
stuff.
her friend's reaction to the guy that comes busting into their de facto clubhouse under the bleachers. So
the end of the issue is that they hear a boom at the end of this scene, and Naomi flies off to see what it was, and it's Dee landing with what... I actually thought he was missing an arm at first, because...
Me too.
Because one arm's sort of up and it's under some rubble, and because there's like sort of red like there where his arm would normally be sticking out, I thought that was blood coming out of a wound. So I mean, maybe a slight critique that the art was... It's not even that the art itself is messy, but the scenario that the body's in is messy by design, that I actually thought he was missing an arm. So it's a very minor critique, but I'll give it. Otherwise, though, very expressive. Like I say, like the performance in the art on the faces was doing wonders throughout this. And as per usual with this book, it is the character relationships, interactions, it's the metaphors for growing up that is good about it, and the actual like action plot with the with the monster and the cyborg is just kind of whatever. It's just there.
It's fine. Yeah.
It serves its purpose, and that's it.
Yeah, I breezed through it, and learning that her, it hurts when she heals. That's such a great like metaphor for growing up, right?
Oh yeah.
That like it didn't hurt in the moment, but as you're getting right, that's when it really hurts. And so I like that little addition to the Naomi lore. Yeah,
and honestly, this issue kind of made me realize that there is a lot of Buffy in this. Like, it's very different context, and it's a very different, like, because she idolizes Superman. But a lot of this stuff being a metaphor for growing up is very Buffy. Like, that's the whole Slayer thing. It's just a metaphor for coming of age and adulthood. But small town teenage girl. There's a lot of the DNA in this. That's all I'm saying. There's some points of comparison, and it can't be argued. So there you go. Any other thoughts, Matt? Yeah.
No, that's it. Just basically parodying everything you said about the art with Campbell. But yeah, it's real good. I'm wondering where else this can go with Naomi. Like, are we gonna get a season 3? Like, are they going to work her into other stuff? Because it seems like this book, where I've had my complaints about Naomi showing up in the other Bendis books and seeming to be the spine of those, but when we get back to her own book and we're getting a lot of these smaller moments, it almost makes it worth it, right? That we're not rushing to her home world in this book. We're getting these moments with her parents and her friends, and
Yeah. What are you rating Naomi?
8.5.
8.5. Yeah. I'll just go straight 8. But yeah, it's very good. I think the see, I was worried at the season, but 3 issues in now, it's been up to kind of the standard I expected from the first season.